Hi, I'm Joe Soba, and I help entrepreneurs build their team, create systems, and the identity behind being that CEO for their business. I joined Laurie-Ann's program because I have always enjoyed speaking and felt comfortable doing it. The reason I joined the program is because it was a little intimidating to think of myself as a speaker. I had a lot of doubt and I had a lot of ideas in my mind and a lot of things to share, of course, as a lot of entrepreneurs do. I didn't know how to put that into a concise, tight fit for something like a speech. Knowing Laurie-Ann was an expert in the field and has for years and years and years of experience doing this, thought what better way to learn than to learn from the best. After going through Laurie-Ann's program, I have this structure that I can use really anytime I need it in order to give the speech. Number two is I have the confidence to approach organizations and say, hey, I can give a speech. It's coherent, it's concise, it's a consistent message, and the format is one that I know is solid because it's what Laurie-Ann teaches. So highly recommend to get your message out there. Recommend Laurie-Ann as your go-to. She's the expert. So use the expert, go to the best, learn from the best, and you'll be glad you did.
Happy Thursday, everyone. This is Laurie-Ann Mirabito, and you are listening to Be in Demand. This is the podcast where I help entrepreneurs just like you leverage speaking opportunities as your best form of marketing to get positioned as the expert and why not monetize your message. Today is a very special speaker breakthrough session with my friend Kim. Kim, welcome to the show.
Hi, Laurie. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Fantastic. Hey, before we get started, can you just tell me what you do and who you help?
Sure. So a little background. I was actually a health and wellness teacher for 20 years in Massachusetts. I'm mainly working with at-risk youth, and I spent 15 years working in juvenile detention. I'm doing, again, wellness, some yoga, mindfulness. And then I thought it was a good idea to go back to school for nursing. So I became a nurse, and I've been nursing for about 3.5 years. And I'm actually a psych nurse. So I work in a facility, a residential facility for kiddos with neurological and behavioral issues. And then I started a practice about a year ago, and I work with teens and young people around mindfulness, stress reduction, mindset work, which is really my passion.
Wow. Okay. Thank you very much for your service.
Yeah.
I know that there's a lot of people, a lot of youth that definitely need some TLC.
For sure.
So how do you work with people? Is it groups? Is it one-on-one?
So in my coaching practice, I really do a combination of one-on-one as well as workshops. I love groups. I think that's my teaching background. I love, working with larger groups and having people interact and kind of breaking things down for them. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So what would you like to get out of our time together? What would help you the most?
So I guess public speaking is something that intrigues me. It's something that I've been talking to some of my fellow peers about, something I'd like to get into. And I've, not to toot my own horn, but I've been told that when the few opportunities I have had, that people really, just resonate with me and like what I've had to say or the way I say it. So I would like to figure out, and I haven't gotten there yet, but I would like to incorporate some public speaking opportunities into my coaching practice so that to get the message out there and also to have a greater impact on, have a greater impact.
Okay. So we got to get you in front of the right people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, because you work with youth, who can be your target audience, but who's your buyer? Who pays for you?
Right. And that's a great question. So, right now, my goal for this summer is really to target schools. So I'm trying to, I'm coming up with just a mindfulness stress reduction program, targeting schools and teachers. So I think that would be the buyer there. But I also right now I have a summer workshop series going on. And I guess really who would be paying for that would be parents.
Parents. Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought. That you've got a very interesting situation here where your target audience is one, but the person who's going to pay you is not your ideal client, but is the parent.
Gotcha.
And I think using schools is great, and we'll dive more into that. But the schools is a great way for you to get your message out, both to teachers who can refer you and administrators who can refer you, but also to those students who could then go home and say, Mom, this is what I learned at school today. I would, here's where you can learn more. That can help. Maybe this will help me. So it's almost like it's two very different messages also, depending on who your audience is. So this is what I know about schools, because I'm hearing you say, like, this summer, I'm going to target schools. Do you know when the schools start booking their speakers for the following year?
Gosh, I'm guessing they probably already have. I had a phone call this morning with a school who is starting to think about the next school year, which is great. So I got on the call with them earlier, but yes, the sooner the better, which is, I'm guessing they probably book pretty far out.
Yes. So chances are they've already got their allotted speakers that are coming in for like those grand assemblies. Yeah. And those are wonderful paid positions as well. But you might need to be building that relationship with whoever the decision makers are and the principals about bringing you into the school system. So what is that process? So one of the things that I teach people is we're not pitching people to say, hey, you should have me speak at your school. Let's open the door to having a conversation. You want to learn from the principal, or even going even as high as like the superintendent, building those relationships with those people and just asking them like, hey, I know that you bring in speakers. I'd love to know the process and even how many speakers you bring in a year for the students. What sort of topics really resonate? Or even like what sort of topics, like, are you seeing a trend that the students really enjoy? We're just opening up that door to having that conversation. And where are you right now?
I'm in a suburb of Austin. I'm in Leander, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I heard you say Massachusetts, and I'm here north in New Hampshire.
and yes, I actually moved. I needed to make a move for warmer temperatures. So I moved here to, like I said, the Austin area about 3.5 years ago.
Very good.
Yeah.
So another idea to get into the school systems to build up your name, your credibility, is associations. Are there teacher associations that maybe multiple teachers from different school systems or even school districts attend? Or even are there conferences that are really geared towards the superintendents, principals? There's another great place for you to be targeting like all of these different people that you could be building relationships with.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, let's go back to the kids and the parents now.
Okay.
Do you feel good about, the school system though?
I do. And actually, I just recently put out some feelers. Again, being newer to this area, it's a little bit trickier. I had established a lot of contacts back in Massachusetts. But one thing I thoroughly enjoy is just connecting with people and networking. So I'm putting out feelers to just, like you said, try to get a conversation going, something started with people. So.
Okay, let's go back to the school system now.
Okay.
Just because I also have a clearer idea that you're new to this area. One, you being a speaker is a fantastic way to get known. It's instead of you going to a networking event and you're talking to one person here and then another person here and another person here, maybe you'll have 5 good conversations in a networking event. You being on the stage, being able to establish that relationship, the beginning of a relationship at least, with 30, 50, 75 people at one time. And then just encouraging them to have conversations with you. You can say something as simple as like, I'll be in the back of the room to answer any questions that you might have on what I spoke on. And just being able to start those conversations. So I think that speaking is also extremely efficient. And the people that you know back in Massachusetts, let's reach out to them. Who do they know? Because as that phrase, that saying, you can't be a prophet in your own backyard. You're living in Austin right now, but you also going to have some roots in Massachusetts. But now you could be having these conversations and, hey, this is what I'm doing. I have a presentation on X, Y, and Z. Who do you know would be interested in this? Because, Austin to Massachusetts, that's not a far flight.
Right. No, good point. I
Yeah.
like that.
Do you have any questions on that?
No, I think that's a great suggestion though. It's something I really hadn't thought about, like you said, kind of reaching out to, those that I connected with and worked with back in Massachusetts. So
Great.
yeah, it is a small world. So
it really is.
yeah.
And once you start building those relationships with people and then asking them like, who else should I talk to? Or who could you refer me to? You're going to hear a lot of similar names or similar organizations. Let's tap into other people's ideas and other people's networks as well. So how are we going to get you into those organizations that have the parents?
Good question. Good question.
What places have you spoken to right now or up to this date that you've had some luck with parents?
So honestly, right now where I work, I don't get the opportunity because it's a residential facility, and I do talk to some parents, but I don't get the opportunity to really connect with them with the numbers or, with associations. So I did think to myself that maybe being more active on Facebook pages for parents and looking for other kind of, like you said, parenting groups, especially of like teenagers, would be something that I need to probably start doing for sure.
Okay. I'm sensing a common theme here with conversations because I'm also thinking to have those conversations with your ideal clients, parents, and finding out what Facebook groups are they hanging around in? Where do they go to get parenting advice? Are there some associations or conferences that they're attending on a regular basis? What are they reading? What do they listen to? Like podcasts, almost like market research, so that you can find that commonality so that you are then showing up in those places.
Right.
That would make sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Is that something that you feel like, like I can do that?
Yeah. And it's funny because I recently just started following on some teen life coaches in the area. And I just recently read an article about the top 5 coaches for teens. And funny enough, 2 of them are here in Austin. So I actually put out some feelers to those 2 people recently, and I have conversations with them coming up just to kind of pick their brain on, where to start, who to talk to. And I mean, there's so many parents out there that there's enough to go around. I don't feel like we're in competition, and they're doing amazing things.
Right. But even to become referral partners as well. So here's the thing. I want you to make sure that you ask them, are they speaking? Where are they speaking? So here's why I'm sort of talking about this is because, again, building relationships with other speakers. Let's just say that there's a yearly conference. They don't want to bring you or them back year after year after year.
Good point.
But they will bring you back every other year. So if you find another speaker who's the same caliber of speaker as you, speaks on a complementary topic, not necessarily the same topic, that you both can be referring each other. Because meeting planners are like, oh my God, I got to find another good speaker. Like, I got to start working on this conference. And it can be hard to find a good speaker for their conference, for their meeting, for their organization.
Right. No, that's a great point, because I think that was one of my concerns was competition and people viewing it as competition. But you're right. I think there's so many topics and there's so many different things to speak on. And yes, I can see what at schools or whoever is looking for different people. Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, you're working right now. So how much time are you able to devote to your side business?
I kind of, it's funny you say that. I feel like I still dedicate a good amount of time I'm probably dedicating right now. I feel like I work as a nurse, I do coaching, and I ride my bike and play in the yard is pretty much my life. So I'm probably dedicating a good 15 plus hours between. And sometimes, I'll look and I'll forget, like, oh, wait a minute, having that conversation, doing this, when you add it all up, I would say between probably 15 plus hours a week. Yeah.
Okay. 15 hours is a good amount of time. You can get a lot done in that amount of time. I'm also going to share with you my time tracking sheet.
Oh, awesome.
And I'm just going to let everybody know who's listening to this podcast later that you can download it also. It'll just be like a free download. Just something for you to really track your time. And here's why I want you to track your time. And even to this day, I still track my time. To be able to go through like week after week, tracking your time, and to go back and analyze them at least once a month, to highlight stuff like, only I can do this. Was this an effective use of my time? Like, is this a $10 an hour job that I could actually be outsourcing? So do you have anybody who's working on your team right now? So you're just solo. That's great. But it's a great place to start, but also to know when I'm ready, I've got 5 hours of work, for example, that I can release to somebody else. And that frees up 5 hours of stuff that only I can do. Because you're the only one who can coach.
Right.
But
no, I think that's a great tool because I've found that sometimes when I do look back at my week, I think, was that a productive use of my time or not? And some things that I'm doing are probably not as productive as others, for sure.
Yeah. So what are you doing in those 15 hours, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah. I was on a roll with networking events and attending. It's kind of twofold. I like being new to the area. I like connecting and meeting with people anyway. So it's been great. But some Facebook, that's a little bit of a struggle for me. I have kind of always just tried to take a step back away from social media. So, but in the last couple of years, I've tried to kind of create more of a presence there, and it's still challenging. It's a work in progress. But some posting on social media around mindfulness and things that I feel strongly about. I would say I'm in a few coaching containers. I work with some other coaches, which has been really helpful, bouncing ideas off of each other. Content creation. I just, like I said, created this 4-week workshop series that I'm excited that I'm going to be hosting soon. I guess, really, again, when in just things like this. Or time. Yeah, take time.
So I wrote them down. We're also going to be reaching out to people. Write the email. Send the email. Let that be that first step. The people that you know super well who will pick up the phone when they see your name, just give them a call. Right. But if you could call or email one person a day, at the end of the week, if you're just doing it Monday through Friday, that's 5 people you reached out to.
Right.
Okay. And then the next week, you're doing that again. So now there's 10. I mean, I'm sure that you can, after this, write down and make a list of 30 people. So you're all set for the month.
Right.
But to also have some sort of a system that in 2 weeks, the people that you didn't hear from, you're reaching back out to that person, sending them another email, or maybe this time you're phoning them. But just have that system that you don't just give up on the first email, because we never know what happened to that email. Lord knows. It doesn't always end up where it's supposed to.
I agree. And I do have my own inbox that sometimes I forget that, that's why I appreciate the Google reminder. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have your work cut out for you. It is about, you're in that beginning phase of building your business and using speaking as your best form of marketing, getting out there in front of the right people. So it sounds to me like your homework assignment is market research. We got to find out where these parents are, what they're doing, what they're thinking, what they're believing. Maybe they don't even know that there's a solution, for their children. Okay. So that's number one. You're going to do some market research, and then you're going to start reconnecting with people so that you can have those conversations. Learn more from the school system, other people that you know, and just building. That's a little bit of market research also, like with school administrators, superintendents, and also the principals, and just learning what their process is for bringing in speakers, because let's make sure that you are top of mind for 2025, for that 2025, 2026 year.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Yeah. And that's, again, something I enjoy doing. So I love the idea of adding that, doing more of that, more of the connecting with people and just asking questions and getting curious. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't forget to think of the private schools as well.
Good point.
Because they don't follow the same rules as probably the school district with the superintendent, and also homeschoolers. Think about those organizations as well. I mean, those have there's your parents and there's your buyer.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Thank you.
You're
Great advice.
welcome.
Yeah. Great advice.
So,
I love it.
would you let people know where they can find you, where they can follow you and learn from you?
Sure. So you can find me at mayyoubewellness.com. My email is kim@mayyoubewellness.com. I also am present on LinkedIn, and the spelling of my name is Kimberlee McCarthy, Kimberlee McCarthy. I also, AKA Coach Kimmy. So that's my other name. So yeah, I'm present there. I would love for anyone to message me and reach out and just have a conversation.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. Are you tired of hearing crickets on social media? Wondering where to get seen by the right people? Or frustrated with the growth of your business? Then the Speaker Breakthrough Session is just for you. During this free 20-minute discovery call, I'll help you recognize where you're leaving money and opportunity on the table. You'll walk away with tips and a strategy to leverage speaking opportunities to get positioned as the expert, visible to the right people, and monetize your expertise. Book your call at speakandstandout.com/SBS for Speaker Breakthrough Session.